Good afternoon. Welcome to River City Vibe. We have a lot to talk about today, but first, a little preview. This afternoon, we'll be talking about the State House erupting in response after a fiery statement from Malcolm Kenyatta. Voices rose, desks banged, and anger spilled out onto the floor.
At the same time, federal workers are bracing under a looming shutdown. Online critics are roasting caterers in our midst. Meanwhile, a new queer space just opened in our city. Oh, and sports culture keeps pushing commerce and identity.
So let's dig through that noise and find out what's really going on. And we begin with the shutdown, then we'll drop down to the House floor drama. Let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
Hi, Elyse.
Good afternoon. Buenas tardes. I'm doing really good. It's a good day. Just got my fresh fill.
Very
black
pretty.
for
Yeah, okay,
fall.
I'm gonna follow suit. I'm gonna get a fall color soon.
For some reason, I really love a black lip and a black, just black.
Black, everything black. I like it. I like the outfit. Yeah, I'm okay. Getting back from Congressional Black Caucus. So we'll talk a little bit about that and the inspiration that was.
Yeah, you'll have to define that experience for us.
It was more than I expected. It was more than I thought it was going to be, especially given my experience last year. I was expecting more of the same, and this year was different. So it was great. Yeah. So, yeah, let's get into this stuff. I mean, the first thing that's happening is the government shutdown. There is a lot happening with that. And all over the news, there's lots of bickering and back and forth. And I don't know if there's been another vote yet, but
it's all happening in such real time
that I can't even look it up fast enough, honestly.
Right. It changes once you get home at the end of the day.
So at the time of we're doing this, there have been at least two votes in the Senate that have not been successful to stop the shutdown. So let's just talk about what that means for Pennsylvanians and for our residents. And what have you been hearing about the shutdown?
Well, I do a lot of my updates via other early CEOs that I follow in the world. So I follow the founder of The Gathering Place, which is a series of Black-owned co-working spaces in major metro cities. And I'm hearing that we're being misinformed, underinformed. Party this, party that, but mainly, right. Quoting him, my mentor online, it was basically he quoted that Democrats aren't doing a good job telling the story, right? If you have a Democrat feed, you're gonna see it's about the healthcare. It's just about the healthcare. You're gonna lose all the Medicaid, all the healthcare. But he explained that it's a chess game, right? It sounds like the inability to come to an agreement between both sides of the aisle has to do with just a fight for power. And there comes a point in time where you have to fight for the power, right? If whoever side you're gonna fight for what you think is right, what you think is good. So I think there are definitely pieces to the puzzle that are not known to most of us. That's what I'm feeling.
Yeah. And I follow it closely. I follow as close as I can. And it's been very confusing. You're right.
Because it's shut down at the federal, and we just happen to be a state. To be a state whose budget isn't passed.
Exactly.
So that's kind of a convoluted.
So it's a double for us. Yeah. That's exactly what I was going to talk about.
Uniquely for us. I was told that it's just Pennsylvania's state budget.
It is only us. So we're in a precarious situation because we are in October in the state of Pennsylvania, and we were supposed to pass a budget. Well, at least budget discussions are supposed to be kind of finalized much earlier. So we're in the third month of budget negotiations in the state of Pennsylvania. And then that, in effect, stalls everything at the state level, right? Grants, PC, CD, other grants. And now that we're in this shutdown at the federal level, too, that also stalls money at the federal level. And so we're looking at, and I had some stats for that. And really, it's about how it affects Pennsylvanians, right? That's our biggest, how it affects Pennsylvanians and people right here in Harrisburg. And that's what we want to know.
That's what we need to know.
That's what we need to know. So I want to read some of those stats.
Thank you.
But basically, what's happening for us is that we are looking at the funding is going to be cut off for almost all research. So whether it's medical research, agricultural research, any kind of research that's coming out of our federal level is stalled right now. We're going to have most folks are saying, oh, our Medicare, Medicaid is going to be cut off. At least not Medicare. Medicare is not going to be cut off right now. So that's something that we should know. Additionally, at the city level, county and city level, monies that pass through the federal government to the state, county, and city level will be paused until we figure out what's going on. That doesn't include monies that the city, state, and counties already have. But if there's monies that are slated to come down to us between now and the end of the year, that's going to be something that we won't get. And we don't know what those are yet because we had to do a little more of a cognizance. This is very new. It's a couple days old. So we don't know exactly what those fundings would be. At the federal level, hundreds of thousands of federal workers are furloughed. That means they're sent home without pay, while others are deemed essential, like our air traffic controllers, TSA, Border Control, and military. They must work. This is the part that's very difficult. Without pay. They still got to go to work. And that is an agreement they sign when they sign up to work for the federal government. So if you're deemed essential, you got to go to work, no pay. The last time something like happened like this was in 2018. And I remember, shout out to Ron, and YPOC actually got a grant together to him, like a little something. We all collected a little money to give him because he had gone over a month without any pay.
Ron.
Yes.
One member.
Yes, one of our members, Ron. He's now down south, but he was here with us during that shutdown. And he worked for the USDA. So we've been here before with this.
Right.
We're hoping it doesn't last as long as 2018, but it lasted a long, 39 days is a long time if that's your only source of income and you're required to go to work.
Yeah.
Required to go to work with no pay. So think about that.
Yeah, the idea, like, this simple phrasing of, like, they couldn't reach an agreement, to me just sounds like a very fluffy way
of saying the girls are fighting, right? Like, that's what it sounds like to me. Like, it sounds like, oh, y'all fighting. It's not just you couldn't reach an agreement. Right? Like, say what the things are.
Older people.
Yeah, say what the things are. You guys are fighting about this $1 trillion cut. You're fighting about the end of the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act subsidies. You're fighting about those things. And those are the two things that the Democrats want to see back in the bill. And the Republicans do not want to see back in the bill because they just passed the one big, beautiful bill. And that stuff was taken out. So they don't want it in. So those are like the basic things. There's some couple other things that are in there, but those are the basic things. And the Republicans are saying those things are partisan. And the Democrats are saying this is for all people. And folks can't really decipher. And like you were talking about with your feed, if you have an all Democrat feed or a Republican feed or something else, you're not getting the full picture, right? You're not getting it.
Yeah.
And I think it's important for people to, we say do our research, but to also have a critical eye on what's happening.
You have to know that you are being fed a slither. You have to know that just no matter what, it's only your phone. If you're only looking on a single device, even your TV, like your normal news stations, like if you're not visiting sites and talking in groups that you don't normally frequent, you are going to be. Shout out to Topics Tuesday. There's spaces for it.
There's spaces for it.
But yeah, it's like, I myself am torn on, right? Like, historically, as a young Black American, whose parents were Black Americans, and their parents were Black Americans, my historical understanding is that we've always fought, right? We've always been in a position to be ostracized for not agreeing to let rights be just stomped on.
Absolutely.
And disregarded and underprotected, and to say ouch is to, like, potentially go to jail. Like, arrest him. Like, you know
absolutely.
What I mean? And
saying ouch I like that you said it that way. Saying ouch is somehow seen as a slight to the persons who you may be on the opposite side of the aisle from, wherever that's at, right? Ouch. You are against government. Ouch. you are against us instead of, ouch, this is hurting my family. Ouch, this is hurting my community. And you all were elected to help us with that. Like, that's why y'all are there. And no critique. It's this kind of weird no critique thing. But I want to get into some first, let me do a couple of things. But so low income families, veterans and small businesses and government contractors are also going to be affected. Contractors don't have those protections. So if they miss pay, they just miss the pay. They don't get any pay. So essentially they just stop working. Low income families, veterans and small business and students have potential to be affected. Disability pensions, GI Bill benefits may slow down, maybe not stop or be delayed. Business owners won't be able to access certain loans and services, and federal financial aid services and funding research may be delayed. Social Security, Medicare, housing programs, public health and safety. Social Security and Medicare payments still go out, but customers, service, and new applications may be delayed because it's all about who is deemed essential and who's not deemed essential. And federal housing assistance like Section 8 vouchers could run out of funding. So these are things that affect our communities very directly. Food inspections, NIH and CDC programs could be scaled back, impacting health updates and protections. The economy overall, the longer the shutdown lasts, the more it costs in delayed paychecks, stalled contracts, and lost economic activity. And I am thankful to have a breakdown of that from the Black Women's Health Imperative on some of those things. So shout out to them for putting together those graphics. But there are resources in the light of all that. There are things that we can do. CAP Action, a guide to government shutdowns, navigating shutdown messaging guidance, protecting care, the PA shutdown fact sheet. That's a really great one. And I can put all these resources in our links, how the government shutdown affects Pennsylvania, and some other pieces to that. We do have a lot of things that can help us in this time. And I think, as far as being residents of Pennsylvania are concerned, we do have that double piece. And so we just have to support each other as best as we can. That may not be in money right now, but it could be in a lot of different resources that we have and amplifying the needs of communities that need it. So, yeah.
Yeah, man. I've been having a lot of conversations, here. River City Vibes is all about commerce and culture and conversations, right? So this idea of capital, when actual cash is not flowing, literally, how creative can we be within our communities, within our families and relationships, and those who are within proximity to how can you make sure each other has what they need?
Yeah.
Right. That's why community is invaluable, right? I don't care if church is your community and you tithe there on Sundays, if you are a part of some sort of membership body and you pay $10 a month or $500 a year, right? Community is vital. Community is survival. And please, folks, I know everyone is feeling, you may be feeling numbed out, maybe feeling so confused and overwhelmed, overstimulated, but it gets better when you are in community, when you can be in community with other people.
It really gets better in community. And that's the word of the day. Let's be in community. Let's be in conversation. Let's support each other, right? So that way we don't feel alone, because a big part of this is feeling super alone. And that's what I'm hoping we're able to do.
Confused and alone.
I mean, to be very transparent, we were talking about this a little bit in our board meeting and what our funding year would look like. It was already uncertain before, but the shutdown makes it even more uncertain because funds are literally not flowing.
Uncertain, yeah.
Funds are literally not flowing. So everyone's affected, from YPOC to all of our nonprofits to even, even for-profit organizations and businesses, everyone's affected. So we'll keep talking about it. Let's keep supporting each other and seeing what's going on.
Yeah, creative financing, y'all. We gotta stay creative.
So our next story, we're going to be talking about some fiery remarks that were made by Malcolm Kenyatta on the House floor yesterday that led to extended discussion. So if you don't know, the gun conversation debate, right, in Pennsylvania rages on. There were several bills on the floor a couple of bills on the floor this week that did not advance.
right here in the state,
right here in the state, that
at the Capitol
affects
building.
literally not far from here, that did not advance. One, to make sure that weapons, there were not alterations to guns, so weapons would become fully automatic. Another, to extend some protections for background checks and things like that. A couple of those did advance. One did advance, and the other two did not, to do with the changing of the types of guns. But it's such a touch and go time. The budget has not been passed, and so people are really just
On edge.
On edge. And so, Rep. Malcolm Kenyatta, got up and he said his remarks, and you can go look those up. We're not going to repeat those on the show, but what happened was the entire chamber erupted, and this battle of the soul of Pennsylvania, through how we think about guns and how we think about automatic and semi-automatic weapons, definitely mirrors the national stage and also affects Harrisburg. We've been talking a lot about gun violence in the city of Harrisburg forever, for as long as I've been here, and as long as you've been here.
And it's reached a peak recently with the youth having so much access and engagement with them.
Yes, absolutely. And our local police department have done gun turn-in programs and, no fault, no questions asked gun turn-in programs, and that seemed to help. But it just seems like more guns keeps coming from somewhere. And tracing that is very difficult. And so apparently, allegedly. So when I see Malcolm making his fiery comments, he's very much for gun control. He's very staunch. He comes from communities. He's from Philadelphia, so he's also from communities that are affected. And then I see them not passing, but then I see the commentary around Black and brown communities and guns. I'm often confused.
Confusing. Because you use the word gun control, right? I think I heard him use the word reform.
Yes, he did. That's right.
And it's like little caveats like that that to me speak to the heightened emotions around, the right to carry arms. Fine. Black and white, right? Arms like, or like arms like,
right.
Like
literally those noises literally tell you the types of guns we're trying to figure out what to do with.
I don't know the names, y'all. That's just
listen, ARs, MIs, this and there's so many letters and numbers. I don't know either. I know
bags and
all kinds of stuff. And I don't want to know. Actually, I'm okay. I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine. I don't want to know. But yeah, so yes, I love that distinction you make, because he does say gun reform. Facts, gun law reform, and
which is not saying like no guns, no guns, no guns. We're not even saying that. And so I think that's where I've always become super confused, the way folks respond to the idea of, like, to me, when I hear the conversations, it sounds like those folks who are advocating for accessible gun ownership, purchasing, and things have the guns. Y'all got the guns. I thought you're good. Like, did something happen recently that you're not?
Needed guns?
Like, you're ungood.
Right,
now you can't get yours. Like, because
they have access to the guns. They do, and I think that is what people are trying to protect. Like, I think Americans overall are terrified of something happening where they're going to need their guns, right? And I find that such a bizarre position, because in my lifetime that's just never happened for me. But maybe there was some point in somebody's lifetime where they needed to do that. But I don't know about in my lifetime that being a reality.
I think about how privileged we are for most of us folks who have spent their entire existence in a first world country
Absolutely.
like America. Because
I have no frame of reference for needing a gun at all times. I just don't have a frame of reference for that. But some people do.
I have a small story to share, because it's in no way like comparable to living and had family and things in a second or third world country during some sort of civil war. But I did do my study abroad program in Chile, and I was down there for 5 months, and it had been only a year or two since the dictator Pinochet had been, overthrown. And Mauricio, my professor, he had been desaparecido, like he had been disappeared. He had been captured, tortured. And this man at that time, I'm in college, had to have been like 40s. So he was like a young, like a young 20 or something, speaking out, standing up. and it's real life. And like the stories, being even that close, and during the time I was down there, the public schools were still in protest. So the students were taking on the fight. They were carrying on the fight with this new government still. Saying all that to say that we were out at a protest. They had the big trucks come and tear gas everybody. And that's as close as I got. To be honest, it felt more like a movie than real life.
Right.
But just even that little snippet was like, damn,
like this is for real.
Yeah, people were literally hiding. You were literally hiding. You were either going to shut up, like you're not going to say ouch.
You're not going to say ouch at all.
You can't even flinch. You can't even wince. And I don't want to get there, right?
But are we? I'm so confused about the gun. So the gun debate, because the other parts of this was the NRA got involved with this and was like, Malcolm Kenyatta threatened the president. So that was like the big part about that.
I'm like, where on the mic? I try to watch all these different videos. I'm like, I didn't see that part. Like, why did
I was looking very hard as well.
I accidentally read the comments.
Right. And they were like, he was threatened.
Arrest him!
No. And I was like, why? For exercising his literal First Amendment right, protected as a lawmaker too, to speak on the floor of the House and the PA House and everything. And so,
and again, he stated that he is literally against.
He literally said it.
Being in arms.
He literally said it.
Taking up arms
to overthrow the government.
He doesn't.
He literally said no.
Yeah,
he literally said no. So it was a very confusing thing, but that just speaks to the completely partisan and divided way that people are talking about this.
Yes.
And the propaganda around both sides of the aisle. One side of the aisle saying, you know, they're going to come take your guns and then the government's going to like throw you into a cell. The other side's like every gun on earth is terrible and we don't need any of them. So it's this very divided thing. And then to me, Malcolm's very in the middle. I thought literally Malcolm in the middle because he's literally like gun reform, but we're not saying this. We're not saying take away all the guns. We're saying let's be safe. Let's get them out the hands of vulnerable people. Yes, literally vulnerable populations. I actually applied for it. And it's so funny for the reason that people talk about needing a gun. I applied for my gun license when I was in state college.
Interesting.
Yes, because I was terrified of walking alone at night.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And that was the reason for me. Funnily enough, I never applied for a gun license when I lived in the city. And I lived in Brooklyn. I lived in Manhattan. Never did. So it's interesting how people feel safe, what they think safety is. And I think that really gets to the heart. People want to feel safe. They want to feel safe to walk around their neighborhoods and their cities and their country. But does safety mean that we are always assuming the worst of our neighbors? I don't know if that's the answer either. So I don't know.
Spooky. Very spooky. It is, again, these are things that are happening in real time, like yesterday, real time. Like we'll probably hear some more updates tonight, tomorrow on it.
We'll keep hearing about this for a while.
Yeah.
Especially as long as our budget in Pennsylvania and the country stays unfinalized. Right? So
in limbo.
Which stinks, but okay. So let's move into our third segment, which is the HRCC and economics. I'm gonna throw it to you, Elyse. What are we thinking about here?
So for those who don't know, HRCC is the Harrisburg Regional Chamber of Commerce in Creedic, which stands for
Central Region Economic Development Corporation.
Regional Economic Development.
I'm pretty sure that's right.
So we were there, and it was I enjoyed the experience. The room was full. The chamber normally gathers folks for breakfasts and lunch and things like that. And this topic, lunch topic, was projecting what business would be like in Harrisburg. And what I had taken some notes. I think I wrote down that we're like the fourth largest metro in Pennsylvania.
Yes.
Right? This
Which
Carlisle,
is amazing
Harrisburg
to me.
Metro. Come on.
Amazing.
Come on.
Mm-hmm.
And they shared a lot of statistics. We have to ask them to share that PowerPoint on their website so everyone can access it, because it was really insightful. Language wise, their ability to use data to inform how commerce and culture will shape commerce and vice versa. how that relationship is going to look in 25 years from now, right? Because obviously their goal is economic development, right? They want money trees to be growing. We need to be planting the seeds for new trees. We need to be watering the existing trees, the toddler trees, like, and so the topic was very much business, but they were able to incorporate the cultural nuance of this region, right? The fourth largest metro region in the state of Pennsylvania that we live in here at the Capitol. And it's going to be a diverse one. They highlighted the increased diversity that will exist, right? That means who's buying the things from the businesses, and from the business perspective, who you're selling to, right? Who you're hiring, right? The culture that you'll need to sustain to stay in business with employees. Absolutely. Right? All of those things are metrics for success across industry, across business life span, from the beginning to the end.
That's a fact.
Yeah, and so I loved their ability to get folks to that point of understanding.
And this was, by the way, this was the Thrive Together Inclusive Workplaces Welcoming Communities Luncheon. Yeah. Shout out to Kara, Vice President over at the Harrisburg Regional Chamber in Cretic. And she has been a real champion of this this Chamber of Businesswomen Plus series. And this was the first luncheon that the series has ever had. And the room was completely full. And there was a maybe 10 or 20 men also there. So it wasn't just the women, but it was focused on women. Yeah. And Kara really did a really good job of bringing people into this idea of how, not just how, it was the numbers for me. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, Kara had it set up so well with her presentation about how the numbers of this region matter to diversity, to business growth, to all these different things and how they fit together. And the speaker, Dr. Karen Kim, Dean of Penn State College of Medicine, was absolutely prolific and amazing, and really complimented Kara's work in talking about diversity in medicine and her work over at Penn State. And those pieces really, for me, speaks to how our region should be addressing and being forward-looking as to what business looks like in the region, what not just business, but what interactions with businesses look like, what hiring looks like, what business offerings look like, who should be considered, and bringing in that piece about medicine and health, because one of her points was healthcare, making sure that diversity in not just providing healthcare, but researching about healthcare. Talked about her mother's own illness and how, if she would have had more research done on Asian women and her mother's illness, how that may have helped. This all speaks to what can help us thrive as a region into the future. And so I just thought it was really a great morning. And I kind of got a couple tears at points because it was just it was not what I was expecting, to be very honest. Wow. And it was wonderful. It was awesome. Excellent. Mm-hmm.
Some of the other points, and this part is for the business owners, y'all. This is for the commerce folks, right? So I mentioned Harrisburg, Carlisle Metro, we're not only one of the fourth largest, we are the fastest growing metro.
That's right. That was a big point.
10 times faster than any of our peer metros. By 2050, 1 in 4 people will be, I think the 1 in 4 statistic will be African American, and 1 in every 3 people will be Latino or Hispanic by 2050, which we're
1 in 4 and 1 in 3 is an astounding. That's a third and 25%. You put those together, and what do you have? A lot. That's almost 60% of the region, right? 25, 1 in 4, and 1 in 3. That's 33 and 25%. That's a lot of people. Just so
you know, if you're trying to make some money, right, don't stop limiting yourself. And I said that the Black businesses who just targeting people in their own Black communities. We're talking to the Latino businesses who are only serving Spanish speaking or Latino communities, right? We have to get out of our comfort as business owners and truly serve the entire community And think even larger, y'all. Like I'm gonna say it again. Harrisburg is a part of one of the top 5 largest regions across the state.
And it's a big state.
Yeah, I was gonna say shout out to Pittsburgh. I'm headed up there for they're having a Black Business Week, Greenwood Week, October 9th to 11th, and I know some state reps will be at that speaking. The mayor's chief of staff will be there, because money is coming down in major ways. There are major events happening in these next 5 years, more immediately, right? So
a lot of development, a lot of business
things are happening fast,
infusion very quickly,
fast, y'all. You need a strong team,
construction,
you need a diverse team, you need an innovative
so much
team.
Coming, yeah.
It's the only way you're going to be able to survive and thrive in the future and here in this region. They said, last quote that I wrote was, business leaders are seen as unifiers. As a business owner myself, right, it is we carry a responsibility as the owner, accountability, y'all. That segue in some things we're going to talk about later too, right? Mm-hmm. Who is accountable to say whether a company is doing something in a way that's inclusive or not? Well, the owner. So that's a lot to take on as a single individual. I can tell you that as a solopreneur myself, right? So you're going to need a team, and you're going to need a strong team, a team that can carry that direction. For the point of the commerce, y'all.
But if you do it intentionally and you take the time to do it, it's one of those things where you can then incorporate it into everything you're doing, and it becomes part of it, and it doesn't feel like a bunch of extra work. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's not this big DEI devil.
DEI devil.
I want the bag. I want the money. We're all you started the business to make some money, I'm sure.
Shout out to Mr. Bobby, who is now retired from ABC 27. He preached this constantly, and he always talked about how this region was growing and and he would go around talking to other conservative business owners around the region saying, do you want to be in business in 20 years? You need to get with the times. And he preached it constantly.
10 times faster than any of our peer metros is crazy.
And by the way, when we say metro areas, we're talking a lot of folk. There's a couple of different overlapping, but we're talking about the Harrisburg, Carlisle metropolitan statistical area that fluctuates between about 95,000 to 110,000 people over the course, and it's pushing more steadily over that 100,000 person mark pretty steadily in our state.
7 counties, 7 to 11 counties or something like that.
Yes, and there's a whole thing
within it.
Okay. yes.
Just to give some folks.
Yeah, and then there's the South Central Pennsylvania region, which is like much bigger. But when we talk about the metropolitan area, we're talking about the Harrisburg, Carlisle metropolitan statistical area, which spans most of Dauphin and most of Cumberland.
Yeah, so business owner has questions to ask yourself, like, how many of your clients are within this metro area? Are you looking at Carlisle? Are you looking at surrounding counties, right? Do you have a finger on the pulse in there? Do you have connections there? That's why community, you need to get with a community. You need to join a community. You're going to need a community. You need community.
You need community, whether it's business community, social. You need community because all of that intertwines.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have something interesting and very local to talk about, and that is food critics versus the caterers. Dun, dun, dun. There's a whole thing sounding off in the city.
Facebook was going crazy.
Yes, popping.
And I'm not really sure where it stemmed or started. It's probably been ongoing. Of a issue, right? Because there is this technical concept that you need a certain type of kitchen that has been checked by city inspectors who are paid by the city to meet codes so that food is healthy, and things are clean, right? So obviously, there's that element. However, how are we thinking small business owners, caterers, chefs are starting their businesses, right? How do we actually think they're starting? They're starting in the kitchen, right? That's the first place they're going to start. So,
and this is not, so just to reframe the issue a little bit, the issue is when people start in their kitchens, the scale up is difficult.
Right.
And there aren't a couple of things. There isn't room for them to grow, literally physical room. And then paperwork, right? So people don't know how to get themselves paperwork situated. So they just kind of chuck that, skip that, and just keep doing stuff in their kitchen.
Yep.
And then they want more money. They want bigger projects. They want to be recognized at various events. They want that. And so they contract with folks, and then there's a breakdown somewhere. And then the folks that contract with them get upset because they also didn't do their due diligence. Are you a certified caterer? Are you a registered food service provider in the region?
Do you normally serve 300 to 500
people,
guest events?
etc. And so, like, we all know of the one that was running around Facebook, but there's been several where this is happening. We've got people who are, their food is delicious. They cook for their family. They cook for their friends. They cook for a wider community. They cook for something. They have it keeps growing, and then they branch out to do something huge, and it's a breakdown. And now we're falling out on Facebook. Now people aren't recommending your business. Now A, B, C, D, E, F, G,
Folks
bad things are happening.
Pointing the finger. I didn't know there was going to be that many people. Well,
you didn't tell me this. You didn't tell me this.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't know there was this, and I didn't know there was that. And
I didn't know you didn't do this. And I didn't know you didn't do that.
Yeah. And it left the customers dissatisfied and in a rage. Taking to Facebook to let the world know how bad their experience was. And which is business owners. Around. Yeah. So it's one of the worst feelings for your friends or someone to screenshot you. Oh, they're talking about you. I think this post is about you.
And just keep sending you one.
Word. Yeah. The next thing you know, a couple people pop up saying something similar. They ain't tagging you, but
now we're taking sides. Now it's
is that the right thing to do?
Is it the right thing to do? But before, I'm gonna say no. But before that, because it always gets out of hand, there's no containing it once it gets out of control. I've had this happen to me personally, so I understand. So there's no containing it. So I don't think it's the right thing to do. But I've also done it. I've also reviewed people online who didn't give me any recourse with them when I tried to handle it privately. So there's something to be said about that too. But way before all of that, what infrastructure exists in our city and region to support fledgling caterers?
Right.
Do we have community kitchens where they can learn how to do this stuff, where they can experience a rush in a controlled setting so they understand what happens when they have to rush, when it's an influx of people and I wasn't prepared? What do I do now?
Yeah.
Right?
And community kitchen, shared kitchen, ghost kitchen, all these different, all that different vernacular can kind of look different, right? One example is, I know y'all know where I'm about to say, Lancaster, right? If you've been to Southern Market, that concept is a shared kitchen. Those booths all go to one kitchen in the back, right? It's probably divided up. I've never been back there, but I know that it functions that way. There's literally a micro business lender in the building, right? There's other offices and suites. There's alcohol in the middle, and it's a shared eating experience, right? And then so then Lancaster has multiple markets that if you're a caterer, you can test trial without some 3-5 year commitment that you end up losing a deposit or, get sick.
Yep.
Or, so many things happen to small business owners. It's a scaling is like one of the hardest things to do.
It's the hardest thing to do.
It's the thing the most people want to do. And then it's also the hardest thing to do.
Because it takes a long time. It is not like you are going to scale overnight. You're like, I'm going to get this big project. And then I'm going to be like, now I'm arrived. I'm always going to do it at this level. No, it takes these increments, but people don't do increments. They go from here to here. But the reason why people don't do increments, they go from like 0 to 100. But the reason why they don't do increments because there is no infrastructure for this right now.
Right.
Right. Like that's the.
We think in Harrisburg, you might go to the Broad Street Market to start. Right. But we've seen booths look like they coming and then never come.
Yes.
Why is that? Why do we think that is? Right. Are
we surveying those businesses to see why? I've seen several businesses about to come on Third Street that never come online. Kitchens and different things like that. About to come downtown, never come online, or they get there only there for 6 months and then they leave. Are we surveying those businesses to see what the issues were so that we can actually create these incubator spaces where they can test and fail without failing in a spectacular way? Like, you're going to fail, but can we control for some issues so that you don't completely pull the rug out from under yourself when you do fail, right? So,
good point. We're seeing it in the infamous Broad Street Market battle, which sounds like it's made some recent progress. But the thing that I was hearing,
shout out to Sherry, the Broad Street
we
Market
have
manager.
a new Broad Street Market manager. She's over a 6-month mark.
Almost a year.
Yeah. So that's still kind of new, but we're seeing, I think we're seeing some difference, some change. But one of the biggest arguments that I heard attending town halls and seeing different architectural drawings was that the community that mostly lived in Midtown, that resided in Midtown specifically, was very adamant about having no change made to a burnt down building that was antique and vintage and expensive and materials don't exist anymore on top of the tariffs. And they're like, well, make every brick look the same. And my understanding was that the initial proposal, the first town hall was like, oh, this will make way for so many new businesses. We can have a lot of area for a lot of more smaller micro pop-up style experiences around in and around the market.
Which was original. That's actually not foreign to the market. If you look at those tables outside, they used to be micro businesses, and you put those tables down and they would be outside years ago. Probably before my time.
Our parents, the elders talk about it all the time.
That's all I hear from the elders is, well, they used to have such and such at the market. So I don't know what the answer is yet for the market, but I'm going to be tuning into that and staying tuned, because that is a prime space to do exactly what we're talking about. Have people enter into a thing, learn and fail a little bit, and not fail in a spectacular way.
Yeah, I will go out on a limb and say with confidence that my stance will always be, let's have more small businesses start and let's have them last longer. So yeah, it's nice that businesses are able to stay and last in a place like the Broad Street Market, but we have commercial corridors that are bare and empty.
Literally empty.
We have a lot of people hedging out of their kitchens, getting some motion, trying to make some moves. But that lift to build your own booth, to
have a brick and mortar.
Yeah, go from feeding your family to no one knows who that is. Yeah. Are they even from here?
Mm-hmm. Always. Are they even from here? Always.
So I think that is going to take some, what's the word they've been saying? Intergovernmental collaboration, communication, or something like that. For the infrastructure piece.
Infrastructure. Comprehensive plan. Shout out to Pasir.
We've been saying shared kitchen, comprehensive plan. We've been saying, and that is something that would likely be, is likely somewhere in the comprehensive plan, the idea of these shared spaces. We heard it at all the downtown revitalization conversations. Oh, shared office, co-working spaces. Like that is an innovative solution to having more people start, and those folks who do well have a platform to propel and get to that next stage without being bashed and canceled before they get there.
That's right. Okay, well, we have we're going to keep talking about this because I think it is a very important topic for our city. Let's go into sports and culture. As we all have heard, Bad Bunny is headlining the Super Bowl. Woo! So that means we'll have to be prepared. We're praying he does it all in Spanish. And that means we have to learn most of the songs in Spanish. We got to go through the catalog. If you don't know, from like 2019, 2018 to now, he's got like 6 albums and EPs and like singles that you just got to know. So that's going to be interesting. But there's been a lot of discussion around that too.
Yeah, I'd love to get some feedback. Should we host Bad Bunny Super Bowl party?
We're definitely hosting a Super Bowl. We got to host a Super Bowl party. We got to do it because it's going to be a concert in the middle.
My girlfriend called me today from North Carolina. She said, I might come to Harrisburg for the Super Bowl because I know you going to do stuff. Because I love Bad Bunny. I'm so sad that I didn't catch his live concert.
Yes.
It was from
Puerto Rico.
It was live for 24 hours. So this is this is exactly why we're doing this show, to talk about the culture and the commerce piece, right? Because what this artist culturally represents, does, and is for this state, this almost country, right? This island, what he does for them in a revenue generating way.
Yes. Has been crazy.
Nuts. And
he's brought so much commerce to the island. He held his residency there, first time ever holding a residency in that facility that they have in Puerto Rico. That's the first time I ever did anything like that. He's done so many concerts there. And people fly from all over the world
to go to PR
flood
to see
that
him.
island.
Yes.
And Puerto Rico is beautiful. So it's like you're going on vacation and you get to see like a really amazing artist. Like who says no to that, right? So capitalizing on that as an artist, for his island, for this U.S. territory that is his home island, as a U.S. citizen.
Imagine Mark Anthony comes out too.
Imagine we were just naming them off. I said everybody but J-Lo, but let's not get into that. But there's so many artists that I think that could really make this a once in a lifetime event. But the commerce part is he has brought so much money into Puerto Rico just by repping his home island, repping his hometown, and understanding what it means for him being this huge artist with this capacity to come to the island. So I thought that was pretty cool. But we'll keep it going.
Bonnie. I'm so excited.
And then we're gonna move into the Glow plus LGBT Center because we have a little bit of time left with you today, and we want to make sure we keep these snippets so you can watch it in its totality. So tell us what's going on with Glow and LGBT.
Well, the topic is not just solidarity, but radical solidarity. And Glow hadn't done a conference like this before, like a business conference style, day-long, workshop-y, breakout rooms. And what stuck out to me was, as an attendee, was that maybe one of every two people I met was from a different county than mine. Yeah. We tabled next to an organization from Pittsburgh, all the way from Allegheny County. There were a lot of folks from Delco, Philly was in the building.
And this was this Radical Solidarity Conference that took place at
Penn Harris Hotel.
Very nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to I think their name is LT. Yeah. But they lead Glow and very strong leadership. Glow recently moved over the summer. They had an office at Strawberry Square, but obviously
it was too expensive for them.
Yeah, it wasn't sustainable.
We'll say what it is.
Yeah, and now they've moved back. I think it's a back situation. But now they're where the LGBTQ center is on Front Street, right? So those two organizations,
Glow and LGBT Center.
And it's kind of similar to, I wouldn't compare them to HYP and YPOC. I would more compare it to like CREDIC and
the Chamber.
The Harrisburg Regional Chamber, because there are two separate entities, two separate leaderships. Their missions are attached, but there are certain deviations, I guess, certain differentiations. And though being under the same building may make sense from a commerce perspective, culturally, I'm not sure it was the easiest thing for everyone to do. From what I've heard from the community, because
yes,
we are definitely.
This is true.
Yeah,
this is why they separated in the first place. To be very honest.
Yeah, right. So it'll be. We'll have to see what happens. That's another thing. But I think that's what we're referring to when we say the need for radical solidarity, right?
You may not all agree on all the things, but what are the points you can agree on so that you can work?
So we're not shutting down government.
Literally, right. And shutting down services and shutting down stuff that matters to people and will help them live their lives.
Yeah, literally stay alive.
So shout out to the conference and Glow and the Radical Solidarity LGBT Center for being an example, I think, of how you come together for the greater good of people who you serve.
Yeah. Great conversations, from homelessness to joy to, there was like a historical context. One room had a timeline museum situation set up that showcased drag versus drag. I forget the other term, but it explained how that's not the same. Drag and Vogue, or maybe terms like that, right? It gave a historical context to how that culture, those communities emerged and came to be, and then thrived through history to date. So I learned some things. I saw friends that I knew. Met a lot of people I didn't know, and I look forward to future ones like that, or at least the next one. Love to attend, be a part, collaborate. So that is an organization that, if you're watching this, definitely tap into. Those folks are dedicated individuals to Harrisburg. They're committed individuals to the Harrisburg community and very much aligned with the mission of like we all thrive together.
Yeah, that's amazing. And we're almost out of time. I want to quickly shout out Yanni Williams and myself and the Black News Beat. We went down to Congressional Black Caucus last week. We'll have lots of content for you on that. We did lots of video, lots of pictures. But I think the most inspiring thing was seeing people from all over the country come to the Congressional Black Caucus's annual legislative conference. It was their 54th one, which is amazing. And seeing how people are organizing in their communities across the country. And there's a lot of good stuff that we can do here that we're going to talk about on the show.
Congratulations.
Thanks. This is my first. I got to go as a media.
Yeah.
And it was really cool.
It's a big thing.
Oh my goodness. Like it was like we got backstage access to this, got to all the events. Like it was stuff that I've literally never done before on that scale. The annual legislative conference and particularly the Phoenix Awards are like the Grammys for like Black government. So it was amazing to see all these people that, we hear their names all day, every day in the news. But seeing them up close and personal, hearing their stories, hearing from these mayors across the country, county commissioners, state level government leaders, federal government leaders, and hearing how they're organized in their communities. I got a free pair of Dunks, Navy Dunks, yeah. Sure did, through Angela Rye's organization.
Shout out to all the folks who were there and have come to Harrisburg and
that was been in Harrisburg. I got to see Mike Eric Dyson was there, who's Uncle Mike. He's been in Harrisburg many times. Angela Rye was there. She was our keynote year before last. I got to see
Congressman Al Green.
Yes, I got to see Congressman Al Green. So like it was like me walking into these spaces and being like, "Oh, friends!" Yeah, it was really great. So that was fabulous, and I'm just happy I got to go. And we'll talk more about it because I don't want to belabor the point, but it was really great. And there's so much things that we can stand in solidarity with folks all across the country who are organizing the communities for better commerce, for housing, transportation, conversations, hip hop and politics. It was amazing.
Yes. So thank you guys for tuning in, and let us know what. This is episode 3, and we'd love to hear which way you'd like us to steer, and maybe do some deeper dives, maybe bring some guests, speakers, participants, maybe some call-ins. How would you like to get more engaged and help us shape this conversation for you?
And the next show will definitely be, since we're in October, so the next show we're definitely going to be talking about voting and all
so soon.
Yes, it's already. We have a month tomorrow till the election, and local politics matter. Every election is local. Is what I want to say. People say local politics matter the most and local elections matter the most, but every election affects the local. And sometimes we have lower participation in the odd years, right? When it's not a general election, when it's not a governorship. So 2025 is one of those years, and our judges are up in the county that affect Harrisburg. And how will you be voting? And do you even know who's on the ballot? That's always our biggest thing. Look for information from who's running for office on that, which is our nonpartisan arm of YPOC that does election watching and also helping people be informed. Shout out to.
I've learned so much from that platform. Yes. Not to cut you off. Definitely check out. We meet every Tuesday in the evening after city council. And this past city council meeting, they did an amazing, seemed like it might have been first time ever.
Yes.
Breakdown of every single
board, commission, authority,
paid, non-paid,
committee, paid or non-paid, and how that. And I think Basir took the book. But it's like a whole book that they put together, shout out to City Council, that has every single commission, board, and authority that touches any and everything in Harrisburg. Do you know we have a trash commission? I have no idea. I forget. It's not sanitation commission. We have a parking commission, not just a parking authority, but a commission that is a board that is connected to. These are all extensions of City Council that and the mayor's office that they can put seats on to help regular everyday citizens get involved in their own inner workings of their city.
I think it opened up, I know we're wrapping up, but definitely check that out. It opened up my eye a lot to the clarity and transparency that our city council is trying to do for us, to highlight the the norm that government doesn't always work as it's supposed to, as it's written on paper, right, in its ideal form. And if you're not having those conversations, if you're not checking in on the committees, right, there's seats that are empty and vacant. And
a lot of empty and vacant seats. So if you're watching this and you want to be on some commission or some board or some
there's
authority
opportunities, y'all.
connected to the city, you should definitely reach out
It's
to your
on
city
YouTube.
council. It's on YouTube. The whole thing's on
Just
YouTube.
like this.
Just like this. So thank you guys. It has been, we went a little bit over, but thank you for sticking with us. And again, drop anything in the comments that you want to know about, that you want us to talk about, that you want us to help bring to light. We're here for that. And thank you for tuning in to the third episode
Thank
of
you
River City Vibe. We'll see you guys soon.
See you soon.